Peekaboo, I don't see you and you don't see me, but I'm here live. Day 4 of Diddy's trial. Cassie is on the stand being cross examined by the defense. Listen, I know for the past couple of days I've been saying if you are squeamish, sensitive, faint of heart, you probably don't want to tune in. I'm just saying. But I'm here for it. Hopefully you are as well. And I'm gonna just admit I ain't never been so hungry before alive. I had went down to try to fix something real quick and didn't get a chance to hardly take a bite. So you may hear some silverware clanking as we give this live a few minutes to kick in. Waiting for a couple people, you know what I'm saying? If you are in the replay, shout out to you. I appreciate you. Let me know you're here in the comments, but go ahead and skip ahead about 6.5 minutes. If you're in the chat or in the bushes, please stay tuned. Don't go nowhere. I will be right back. A helping hand to your fellow man. All right, peace, world, peace. Welcome back to Goddess Dawn Speaks. I am Goddess Dawn, the one, the only. They also call me the Queen of Info, and I call myself the $1 trillion Goddess, honey, because it's a mindset, a frequency, and a vibe. All right, so get into it. Now, I want to say hi to whoever came into the chat. Thank you so much for your patience. I see the people in the bushes don't have a lot of patience. People popping in and out of here like they done lost their mind. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, of course. I know y'all are fickle. If you are new to this channel, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. I appreciate you. Let me say hi to my peoples, the chosen ones, the warriors. Wow, Wayne, #1 in the building. Thank you so much, Wow, Wayne. You know, I appreciate you. Nia X, hey now. Michelle, my Ohio queen. What's going on, ma? Baby Yoda. Yes, thank you for the bells. And who else came in here? The Black Letter Law. Yeah, shout out to her, my favorite lawyer. Season Sagittarius. She made it into the pre-live chat. I appreciate you. She's actually a replayer as well, but you know I love you, girl. You know I love ya. Thank you for sending healing. Yeah, Cassie needs healing, definitely. Let's see. Anybody else? Shamina? Where's Shamina? I see you. Oh, hi, Shamina. Hello. Welcome back. Beautiful spirit. Yes, or Love Queen. I'm sorry. Let me speak on your new brand name. Miss you too. Thank you so much for being here. All right, y'all. Listen, there's a lot going on. Cassie is on the stand. The defense has their turn up with her, and you know it ain't going to be nothing nice. Although what I'm hearing is the defense attorney they chose to do the cross-examination is actually very mild, very nice, you know, things like that, which is probably a smart choice for the defense as opposed to having one of the guys. I heard somebody saying that they expected Brian Steele to do the cross-examination, and I don't think it's ever a good idea for a male attorney to cross-examine a woman who has experienced trauma within the case surrounding the trial, or, you know, which the trial is about, because and you know, the aggression that sometimes that they bring, it's not a good look. So before we get into the courtroom, because we are going to court, okay? But before we do, I do want to show a couple of TikTokers talking about kind of the ambiance of what was going on in the court, so we can kind of have an idea of the nature of the environment in the courtroom, if you know what I'm saying. So let me get Cassie down. And I left this particular picture up on the screen longest because I kept hearing that Diddy was staring Cassie down. Okay, but she wasn't giving him no play. But I'm gonna let you hear it firsthand. Let's come over here to TikTok. Like I have always said, you can surely follow me here as well. All right, let's see who said it. I think it was this lady.
The jury was out, and Diddy was just playing stare games with Cassie. He just kept staring at her for what seemed like several minutes. The attorneys from both sides, some of them were talking with each other quietly. Everyone was waiting for the jury to come back in. So in this moment, Diddy is staring at Cassie. And of course, she's not having anything to do with it. She's not acknowledging him. She's not looking at him. She's just waiting patiently on the stand in the witness box with calm and poise. And he just kept staring at her. I'm thinking to myself, like, why does he keep looking at her? Obviously, he can't talk to her, but he surely can look at her. And where I was sitting in the courtroom, I was sitting in the back of the courtroom, so I could not see the front of his face. So I couldn't read any facial expressions, nor could I see any the profile. So any big movements I could see from the back. I could definitely see what direction he was looking, and he was looking at Cassie. And so after several minutes, what felt like several minutes, then he looked straight ahead and then he shook his head. So I'm going, okay, so he's looking at her. So he's looking at her for what? To communicate something with her? Is it a form of intimidation or control or dominance? Or maybe there's some unfinished emotional business that he's feeling. And then when he looked straight ahead, he shook his head. So that was like some type of projection. Maybe it was some type of silent rebuttal. Maybe he was thinking about her testimony earlier today, or maybe where she was going to go next. He had memories. I mean, who knows, right? There are a lot of different reasons why he shook his head no, but I definitely believe it had something to do with Cassie because he was just looking at Cassie. And so when the jury walked in and everyone was standing up, as you're supposed to, then his body language shifts yet again, and that he's moving, he's swaying, he's standing on both feet, and he's swaying side to side, side to side. So there was a little rhythm to it, and it was very subtle. So it wasn't like big movements, but it was very subtle. And so what happens when you're feeling very anxious or stressed or tense or frustrated, you have a lot of pent up energy, and your body has to find a way to release it. So in this moment, Diddy chose to release that angst that he was feeling by swaying side to side. It was a way just to calm himself, to calm his nervous system. And there's a lot going on, right? He's fighting for his freedom. But, it made me think he's feeling unbalanced, and that's why he's swaying side to side. And check this out. Cassie finally has her freedom. She is completely free of him. She's moved on with her life. She's married. She's pregnant. She's going to have a baby soon. I think I heard that she's 8.5 months pregnant. She's gotten help to deal with her trauma. She went to rehab, she said. So all this positivity, and where is he? He's locked up. Now he's got to face all of these allegations, and the jury has to decide whether it's true or not. And if it's true, what the penalty is going to be. That's a lot of weight on him. But isn't that karma, though? Think about it.
So I don't know. I hope you heard her. I mean, it was kind of low for you know my liking. However, she was just saying that his body language, him moving side to side very subtly, but she spoke on the fact that his body needed to release the tension that was pent up inside, and the fact that he was staring her down and also shaking his head no sometimes, as if he was rebutting some of the things she was saying, or either she said she was, just guessing. But I also wanted to really quick. Well, here's the family coming to court.
Stay down. How do you feel this morning?
I guess today.
What do you feel this morning?
So notice the girls aren't, well, at least they're not shown. just the sons, the mama, and then I wanted to show, here it is, Armand, real quick too, and then we'll get into the courtroom and into the testimony.
And you see Diddy doing this. So this is what got me. So Diddy would have her go to the studio. And so she was doing her thing. And she was at the studio doing her thing, you know, working. And she was like, I'm just really, really tired. He's like, how you feeling? We had a long night. You know, we're getting back to live, getting ourselves back together. And then she's like, you know, I'm tired. I got to lay these vocals down. And he's like, well, how's the vocals going? And she's like, well, the vocals are good, but I just have these sores in my mouth. And the courtroom, the black lady, she talking about something. But you know, she got to keep it together. And I'm thinking, sores? Then you see white people tense up because they think it's sores. And I'm thinking, we finna sores? I almost pooted. I'm thinking, because you know, I curl my stomach was thinking sores. I had to readjust myself. What kind of, she said she would have nothing but a bunch of sores all in her mouth, just sores. And I'm thinking, what? She said, yes, and I have a UTI. And he said, what? Are you okay? These are text messages. And guess what she said? Yes, we just do a lot of dick. And I'm like, what? And you see Diddy doing this. So this is what got me. So Diddy would have her go to the studio.
Okay, so I was more interested. We talked about, so this was from yesterday's testimony when she talked about the sores in her mouth. And Shamina, I don't believe it's herpes in the mouth. I believe it's from the friction. I think that's what was said, from the friction of the oral sex that she had to do, that she was doing for 4 days or however many hours, you know. So, and she also had urinary tract infections ongoing, to the point where I think she said at some point the medication didn't even work anymore on her. So, but the reaction of Diddy is what.
And you see Diddy doing this.
That reaction, see, that's what I was saying, I think yesterday, about the fact that this man, he can't control himself. He can't control his reactions, his mannerisms. The jury is watching this. I know a lot of people are, I don't know if criticizing is the right word. They're kind of like, can we get to the RICO? Can we get to the RICO? This is just sex, domestic violence stuff. Like, well, and I'm going to keep saying this. The prosecution's job, they have 6, maybe to 8 weeks, okay, to prove their case. They are building up to everything. They have to lay the foundation. They have to introduce people into the jury's minds. There's work to this. So, yeah, he did get upset with his team. I think we talked about that yesterday too. Hey, Mrs. Kiki. Yeah, he did get upset, and he was visibly upset. Visibly. So can you imagine him reacting like that in the courtroom? How he was towards them outside of the courtroom? Diddy's a beast. Okay, he's a beast. We know he is. But let's get into today's testimony, y'all. Go ahead and get relaxed. If you need your snacks, or whatever it is you want to do, but don't leave me. Stick with this. All right. Would you say, Love Queen? Pufferfish needs to stop. The judge should not allow him to look at her. Exactly. Well, they're facing each other. And that's the whole, I think, point of court. Well, a lot of times they say, the accused facing each other. And that's the whole, I think, point of court. Well, a lot of times they say, the accused facing each other. And that's the whole, I think, point. Okay. All of a sudden my phone just went crazy for some reason. Okay. That the accuser is there to face the accused. And I think also sometimes the defense even says, well, the accused needs to see and face their accuser. So, you know, they're facing each other. They're facing off. Okay. So let's get into the testimony. Okay. I'm about to just jump right into it. I'll throw a picture up in a sec, but thanks as always to Matthew Russell Lee at Inner City Press on Twitter or X. You know what I'm saying? He's doing the work. Okay. He said, this is what we do. So he says, okay, U.S. versus Sean Combs, May 15th, Cassie Ventura cross-examination begins. So he says, before the cross-examination, Ventura's lawyer, Wigdor, says, I have a right to be a part of the meet and confer about which evidence she can be questioned about. She is the only victim witness that has standing under Rule 412. The judge says, we have to move forward. Other issues, Ms. Slavic, and this is Prosecutor Slavic, as we noted in our email to the court early this morning, and then there's a note from the reporter saying the judicial documents are not being put in the public docket. Okay. Then the judge says we might get a sign from Miss Estavia. I cannot pronounce her name. I'm going to call her Miss E. She's the one who's going to be doing the cross-examining, from what I understand as well. We might get a sign from Miss E that it's not an issue. Prosecutor Slavic says the defense last night dumped 400 exhibits on us. This cannot continue throughout the course of the trial. The judge says, Miss E, and then Miss E says, or Anna Maria, she says, we have been working tirelessly in response to Miss Ventura's testimony. So it sounds like they're basing whatever exhibits and whatever, you know, they didn't come already with a script of what they were going to do. They were basing everything on what she said on the stand. And I guess that's how it works. I'm not a lawyer. So it sounds like it was all a bunch of last minute, put together of information and exhibits before the next day's cross-examination. So the judge says, Mr. Ignifilo, I thought you were going to take this off my plate. Ignifilo says, I will keep trying. This is the main witness. She stands by herself. That said, we have been doing this all night until 3 a.m. We flagged exhibits for them. So they ain't had no sleep. Prosecutor Slavic says, there are 24 exhibits that the government has objections to. They are listed in the chart. The judge says, just the ones in the chart? And then the reporter makes a note. Again, these judicial documents are not going to be in the public docket. Not the case in many other trials. Okay. So the judge says, bring the jury in. The jury enters. Combs' lawyer, Anna Maria, or Miss E, she starts off. Miss Ventura, you loved Mr. Combs, correct? I did. For 11 years, you took care of him in some ways. You called him larger than life. I did. Others called him Diddy or Puff Daddy, but you called him Sean, right? Yes. You knew a version of him the rest of the world couldn't see, right? The prosecution objects. The judge overrules. In ways, you kept coming back to him for 11 years. I wouldn't say coming back. You believed he loved you too. I did believe he loved me too. So when he cheated on you, it hurt. Not every time. Bring up the defense exhibit. Prosecution objects. Not in evidence. The judge says, that's true. This is not in evidence. Miss E says, Miss Ventura, read it just to yourself. Why did you send this message? To let him know I was going to dinner. What was going on when these messages were sent? I'm not sure. What was going on in your relationship then? It was early. We were loving. I offer it. Prosecution objects. Being offered for the truth. The judge overrules. Miss E says, please read. Ventura says, I wrote, I love you. Smiley face. I'll fly anywhere for you. I love you. Cass. Miss E says, this is a 2009 email. The prosecution objects. Hearsay. The judge says, Miss E, ask more questions. She goes on. From BlackBerry, what is BG? Cassie says, baby girl. Miss E says, what did you write? You hungry, Pop Pop? And Mr. Combs wrote to you, we are so in love, we don't do anything else. How long had you been seeing each other? Like 2.5 years. Please read this. 1364. I haven't talked to you at all. You don't even try. You brush me off the phone. I'm really hurt. I don't need your money. I need some attention. You wanted your special time with Mr. Combs. Yes. You testified that you told him, I love you so much. You make me a better woman. I definitely wrote those messages. You wrote, I can't wait until we have a baby of our own. You knew that he had 6 children at the time. Yes. So now these messages are about freak off. When you say, you know, it doesn't matter to me. You mean weekend or weekday, either is fine. That's what it says. Mr. Combs says, maybe we can call Jules. You can do it. Yes. This is an explicit message from you about the anticipated upcoming freak off. The prosecution objects. The judge says, we'll take a recess. Judge needs a break, okay? Let me come real quick and see if you guys have any anything to say over here. Let's see. Hey, Ray all day. The OG Ray in the building. What's going on, mama? Let's see. Love Queen says, shout out to Cassie and her bravery. Yes, Cassie is a warrior for sure. Shamina says, they aren't prepared, honey. Love Queen says, seems like pufferfish tennis lost in the sauce and unorganized. Team, I think you meant. Yes. Wild Wayne said, convict. Guilty. We don't even need the trial, huh? Wild Wayne. Love Queen said, pufferfish team is so focused on the tape and the Pink Panther powder has their brain fried. SMH. This is what pufferfish gets. Exactly. Listening while I work. Okay. I appreciate it. Okay. Always working. I know what you mean. You're not alone. Okay. You are not alone. Okay. So they come back from break 10:48 a.m. on the East Coast. This is 7 hours ago, at least from where I am on the West Coast. The judge says, Miss E, you may proceed. Combs, Miss E says, Miss Ventura, this is from Mr. Combs to you. You respond with an extremely explicit message, right? Yes. This is 2 days after the planning of the freak off, right? Yes. He said, I want to see, how did you reply? So I don't know what he must have either not wanted to type it or didn't have time to type it, but we don't know what she said she wanted to see. It must have been explicit. She said, how did you reply? And Cassie said, oh, maybe he said, I want to see you. She said, I can't wait either. You wrote, I feel like I want to F-U-C-K, by the way, right? That's what it says. Mr. Combs says, I'm so horny, I can't concentrate. What do you say? That I'll go to Dwayne Reed for candles and then set up the room? Did you understand that he was going to take another video of you? Objection, speculation. The judge says, Miss E, you can move on. You ask, any pills on you? Yes. What pills were you taking then? Opiates? You deleted videos on your devices, right? Yes. What did you write? That I need to feel this is my husband, the only one who will see this side of me. Were you afraid that Mr. Combs was only seeing you for sex in this way? That was a concern. You still were not public in your relationship with him. Correct. Were freak-offs important? Integral to us. Who was at your 21st birthday party in Las Vegas? Britney Spears, Dallas Austin. How did you get them there? They came for Sean. You're very beautiful and charming. Thank you. It's true. Who is Tommy Mottola? A well-known producer. You were an up-and-coming star. I guess you could say that. After you signed with Bad Boy, things were still platonic? Yes. You had a rough performance? 106 in Park. It did not go well for me. How did he help you after that? We did a YouTube video. He said, everybody makes mistakes. Was that wrong? I couldn't hear myself. You were dating Mr. Leslie. How much older than you was he? 10 years. Then you traveled to Miami with Mr. Combs. The flyer of the event was just a cover to spend time with Mr. Combs, right? That's true. You had a tattoo of Mr. Leslie's initials on your body, right? Yes. How many tattoos did you have then? Objection, relevance. The judge overrules, but let's keep it moving, the judge says. Ventura says 3. The one on your arm? No regrets. Mr. Combs taught you how to do oral sex? He did. Look at this. Tell me when you're ready. Can you read it? You can read it. It's making me laugh. It's from 2007. You wrote, I feel protected. You are sweet. You wrote, I see that Carrie is better fitting for you. I'm hurt that you think I'm malicious. You're very important to me. X, Cass. And then the reporter says Cassie laughed. What were you trying to convey? It's like a journal entry. You discussed Carrie Morgan. Did you think Mr. Combs was attracted to her? There was a point in the very beginning. Did that complication carry on in your relationship? Not really. Carrie was just always with us. I like to start asking about freak-offs. Sometimes you wore a wig and a mask? Yes. The general public did not know. Objection. The judge told her to rephrase. No one knew until November 2023 in the public. Yes. Fair to say his career was ruined after your lawsuit. Or it's a question, actually. So she says, fair to say his career was ruined after your lawsuit? Cassie says, I could understand that. Let's read these messages. Mr. Combs wrote, when are you on your period? She said, no, I think it means not now, but it says no now, but I think it means not now. What do you be thinking about when you horny? This is Miss E reading the text. What you be thinking about when you horny? Miss Ventura, if you don't want to read the answers, I can read them. She says, thank you. Miss E continues. The O has a lot of O's after them, right? Yes. After a freak off, you make love with Mr. Combs? Yes. Your period. Mr. Combs is asking when you're on it, right? Yep. He's asking in the context of when to meet up and have sex. Or it's a question. He's asking in the context of when to meet up and have sex? Looks like it. Sometimes you watched him with a female? 2 or 3 times. Did you talk with Mr. Combs about the swingers lifestyle? That no one talks about it. Were you keeping freak offs secret from your friends? Yes. His assistants help him with everything. You could remember if an assistant came in during one of your sessions with an escort. Not necessarily. I was high. So you don't remember much. I had my privacy invaded a lot during that relationship. This is from July 2012. You say to Mr. Combs, I'm horny and bored. This was right after a freak off, right? There are a lot of texts there. There are a lot of texts here. And then the reporter said to be 25 pages. Where will the defense exhibits ostensibly enter into evidence be available? Oh, he's still bitching about the fact that these are not public filings. It might not be available until after trial. A lot of times, sealed things are available after trial for purchase. The court makes a lot of money off these trials in a lot of different ways, the transcripts included. Okay. Prosecutor Johnson says, I would ask that the witness be allowed to read the entire document. The judge says, how many pages? Ms. E says 8. The government says, we don't have a copy for the witness. Ms. E says, we'll show it on the screen. And then the reporter makes it known that they're not showing it to the public. Ms. E says, you said Mr. Combs often put you down, but he also sent you encouragement and called you a queen, right? Yes. And now there's a sidebar. So there's some type of conversation happening with the judge. Take a sip of my tea. Whew. Okay, after the sidebar, Miss E says, what would trigger Mr. Combs' incessant calls to you? She says anger, doubt about where I was. If he suspected you of cheating, he'd call you incessantly? That was one of the reasons. Because he thought, objection, the judge says that's sustained. Ms. E says, do you believe Mr. Combs has good taste? I think he does. He's had an impact on fashion. People like his style, Sean John. Did you consult with him on your look? Sometimes I got advice I didn't ask for. He still ran his companies even while having all these freak offs, right? He did. What was he addicted to? Success, and she laughs. What substances? Opiates? Yes, he told me and I saw it. And see, I'm going to just say on the side myself here, I think they're planting this stuff too, because remember, they were filing motions basically saying that he was mentally incapacitated because of his drug and alcohol use. So the fact that they're establishing the fact that he was addicted to opiates is a part of their foundation. Okay. Ms. E says, did Mr. Combs' mood depend on whether or not he was withdrawing from opiates? He was more irritable, I would say. What other drugs was Mr. Combs addicted to? Objection, no foundation. The judge said, I'll ask if I want the grounds. The judge was like, calm down, okay? Let me do my job. The judge says, sustained, rephrase. Ms. E says, what was his drug of choice? She says ecstasy or MDMA. Miss E asks, opiates daily? When he was doing them. You saw him withdraw? Yes. The judge said, we'll break. The jurors leave. The witness leaves. The judge says, Miss E, where are we in your cross? We have a lot of exhibits. Let me confer over lunch. Non-responsive. Will you finish today or early tomorrow? Ignifilo says, to the end of tomorrow. We might not be able to finish tomorrow. This is the most important witness. The judge says, for months, we said, this witness had to be off the stand by the end of the week. Prosecution says, our direct was a day and a half. Limit them to that. Okay. The judge says, show Ms. Ventura the exhibits in advance. Maybe just ask her questions rather than these exhibits. We have a timing concern. Ignifilo says, they called 2 witnesses to start. That wasn't our choice. It's a critically important witness. The judge says, streamline things. And he said, we'll break now, okay? Let's see, what time was that? Yeah, so they come back at 1:10. Let me come see if y'all have anything in the chat. Miss Sunshine to you. The sun has come in to the chat. You driving and typing, Love Queen, or are you talking to text? Be careful, please. Michelle said, just as guilty as all the charges, just guilty as of all charges. Jutis, hey, Juti. Hello, loves, dropping by to send love. Thank you, appreciate you. Ray said they are still functioning drug addicts. That is true. Yep. Real quick, I want to show them leaving for.
Look at the No. Yeah, more people coming out. Diddy's mother. Let's join us.
Looking great. On a walk for her yesterday. She already knows. She already.
Just to highlight the madness outside of the courtroom, after hearing this testimony, the kids going to lunch with the mom, of course, and what must be going through their minds. I don't think the sons are unaware of this stuff. I don't know about the daughters. And I do have another TikTok I'm going to show after about that. Okay, but let me return to court. It's 1:10 p.m. on the East Coast, and they're back from lunch. The judge says, Miss E, has the witness had a chance to review the exhibits? The prosecution says they're lengthy. The judge said, we'll do the best we can. I was told this witness would be off the stand by the end of the week. We let the jury go early yesterday. If there's something that really needs to be done on cross after lunch tomorrow, I may allow it. We have to leave time for redirect. This witness is being responsive. Ventura enters. The jury enters. Ms. E says, let's turn to GX 411. Prosecutor Johnson says, it's not in evidence yet. Ms. E says, so B 414, page 3 and 4. You wrote, I love our FOs when we both wanted. You felt that? She says, loving FOs were just words at that point. Miss E says, Mr. Combs wrote to you, I want to freak out right now. And you wrote that you wanted it too. In quotes, it says, LOL, me too. Cassie says, I texted more than that. Miss E said, but you didn't text that to him. Mr. Combs wrote to you, Jules is available if you are into it. I'm sorry, she said you did text that to him. She's trying to say you pulling that out of context, but she's like, with that, but you sent that. And then he said, is Jules available? See if he's available if you're into it. Miss E said, you could have said yes or no, and you said, love you. Cassie said, there was no yes or no. Miss E says, bring up B420 on page 2. Mr. Combs wrote, do I have your permission to set up freaky fun? You wrote, ovulation. Ventura says, yes. Here, what do you say? Cassie says, I asked which hotel. I must have called him in between. I don't want to assume anything. Miss E says, he said Montage. You said you could also go to Pleasure Chest. What would you get there? Sexual supplies. So yeah, the Montage, I believe that's on Sunset, and there is a Pleasure Chest like right across the street. Miss E says, what supplies? Lubricants, outfits. He says, have fun, impress me. You say, okay. He says, can we kiss a lot? You wrote, I left the iPad. I don't know whose iPad this meant, Cassie said back. Miss E says, Mr. Combs wrote, I'll be there right after my session. This was in June of 2017. Do you remember arguments that you were having at that time? Not specifically. Here you say, the game starts at 10 p.m. No breaking character to 8 a.m. Cassie says, this was a game a friend of mine told me, a way to rekindle your romance. Miss E said, by doing something different in the bedroom? It's a whole getting into character thing. Mr. Combs says, let's get some outfits and go to a sex club. Mr. Combs wrote, surprise package coming from out of state. Why can't I reach you? What did you say? I was getting my brows done. Did you come to know Mr. Combs was leaving to freak offs to go see Kim Porter? Yes. How did you find out about Gina? How did you feel? Did it upset you? Yes. It prompted arguments? It did. And he thought you were not faithful. What were his reactions? It was scary. Mr. Combs wrote to you, let's do something different in NYC this weekend. FYI, Dave hit me. What does hit mean? Reached out. And Daniel contacted you. Did this mean you might have a freak off? Might. Now, and I'm just thinking about the fact that Diddy's sitting right there staring her down. Miss E says, he tells you, you better put me on VIP vibrate alarm or something. He's frustrated you don't answer his texts fast enough. Right. You tell him to come to NYC understanding there could be a freak off? Maybe. You also saw the Book of Mormon? Yes. And she laughs at that. Masked pleasure, is that a sex club? I would assume. He asked, are you ready for tonight? What did you say? Yes, I have to get some things. This is not about what I felt, right? Because you are skipping over a lot here. Miss E said, what did you write? She says, as much as you think you're Bruce Willis, you're not. Your kids were babies when we started dating. Miss E says, if you saw him on social media on vacation with, it was heartbreaking. It could be. I was 7 years in. And what about this? What about Gina? You wrote, I don't want to be a side piece, but I'll treat you as a king. You wanted to be the main girlfriend? In 2013, yes. You saw social media posts of Mr. Combs with other girlfriends and got angry, right? Can I speak? I was jealous of certain situations. Did there come a time he suspected you were in a relationship with someone in the industry, Mr. Muscati? Yes. Mr. Combs thought it could be good for your career if you collaborated with Mr. Muscati. Yes. Why did you begin your relationship with Mr. Muscati? We enjoyed each other's company. You were in a relationship with Mr. Combs? We were on a break. But you were still doing free golfs with him? Yes. After Mr. Combs found out by going through your phone, you went to see him. You knew he was upset. He previously attacked you. Yes, I thought I'd be safer with other people there. The judge said, let's take a break. Let's take a break, child. Okay, I'm going to come see if y'all have anything to say. Used to go to Pleasure Chest, Ray Ray. I've been there a couple times. Yeah. Michelle said, Diddy just had money, and that's what people looked at and tried to get him to help them with their music career by any means necessary. Yeah. Ray Ray says, I think that Mama introduced Snuff Daddy to this. She ran a brothel when he was in. Yeah, we've talked about that here quite a bit. I think she definitely opened the door to his behaviors. And I wonder, how does she feel sitting in court hearing all this stuff? But then again, being that she had been running a brothel every weekend, like his friend who was living with him said, it might not be nothing to her. This just might be rolling right off her back. That's crazy. Okay. All right, let's get back. Yes, please hit the like button. I appreciate you. Let's get back to court. So it's 2:38 p.m. on the East Coast, 4 hours ago on my timeline. The judge says, okay, let's get Miss Ventura back, and the jury, and they enter. Miss E says, your affair with Mr. Muscati was only a month long, but you got a burner phone for it? Right. Mr. Combs kicked you in the back? Yes. This came up later in your relationship that you had cheated on him with Kid Cudi. He brought it up quite a bit, is what Cassie says to that. Miss E says, when he cheated, he said, well, you had an affair with Kid Cudi, right? She says, sometimes. He suspected you of having an affair with another person in the industry. You were in South Africa filming? Yes, Honey 3, she laughs. While you were there, you saw a photo of Mr. Combs with Gina and you were irate, right? Angry, Cassie says. You blocked him and focused on the movie, right? She said, I tried my best. Mr. Combs suspected you of a relationship with whom? Michael B. Jordan. Child, I need to pour some tea. I'm drinking this peach iced tea. It's pretty good. Hold on, child. Michael B. Jordan. All right. Miss E says, you sent a video not only to Mr. Combs, but also to staff. Who? D-Rock? Yes. You sent it to them because you were angry with all of them? I was hurt. I spent all my time with them. You thought they were in on it? The physical abuse, when did your father learn about it? The same time as my mother. And I forgot, I was going to put a pic up because I know y'all ain't really looking at this thread anyway. but this is for anybody who may pop in. The stare down is going on as she's answering these questions. Ms. E says, the physical abuse, when did your father learn about it? The same time as my mother. Did Mr. Combs come to Connecticut to speak with your parents? I don't know if it was then. Carrie Morgan knew about the abuse? Yes. The eyebrow gash incident, what was it about? Didn't answer the phone and went to sleep. I was supposed to be packing for a trip. He was inebriated? I don't remember that. Why were you asleep? A drink at the Abbey had something in it, I think. Did Mr. Combs ever abuse you while he was inebriated, then say he didn't remember it? Yes. Did you feel he was not taking responsibility? Yes. Now, before we go on, when she said, why were you asleep? I mean, don't you sleep because you're tired? But it seems that she's trying to pinpoint the drug use and the alcohol use. But she said she thinks something was in her drink at the Abbey. Now, that's some type of lifestyle while you're out and about and your drinks are getting spiked and you don't even know it. I mean, you know it or sometimes, and sometimes you don't. Okay, so let's go on. Miss E asks, for drugs, you both go to rehab? Cassie said, rehab wasn't really a thing during our relationship. The freak offs were an opportunity for you to take drugs together? Yes. You went a lot to Burning Man? Yes. Did you ever call yourselves get high partners? We did. Did you take drugs from him without him knowing it? Yes. What was his reaction? Explosive. Did he tell LA dealers not to deal to you? Yes. You told Miss Coram that you learned only after the fact that Mr. Combs had dangled Miss Bongalin off the balcony? I'm not sure. You were on drugs? I'm not sure. You got a life coach for drug use, according to this document. Wait, you got a life coach for your drug use, according to this document? I don't know who that person is. You were doing a lot of drugs? It was a rough time. You tried to get into rehab, the Golden Door? It was a spa. There was a time I lost all sense of smell and taste and woke up in a hospital with an IV in my arm. I tried then to get help. Jeez. Time after San Bernardino, you learned that he had overdosed? A very strong opiate, yes. Were you ever not addicted to painkillers? We took ibogaine. I think that's how you say that. Where did you get it? Cancun, Mexico, separately. When Mr. Combs threw you off the boat in Cannes, when he accused you of taking drugs and squeezed your leg, among other things, Cassie said. But you still wanted to be with him? I did. Switching topics, when you say Mr. Combs went with GUNs to find Suge Knight, do you remember telling the government that you did go with them? No. Let me show you. Prosecution says, just for the parties. Cassie said, I did not go with them, so I don't think I said that. Miss E said, you also did drugs with Miss Morgan, right? Yes. Do you recall telling the government that you did not set what he did? Hitting her in the head with a wooden hanger? Oh, C, probably. You did not see what he did, hitting her in the head with a wooden hanger? I saw the hanger. I saw he was angry that I was doing drugs with Carrie. This broke up your 17-year friendship with her? It did. Did you tell Mr. Combs about your relationship with your now husband? No. Miss Morgan sued you and Mr. Combs, made a demand, and you paid part of that? I did. And you haven't spoken with her since? Maybe one text. That was the relationship ender? Yes. You would heat up the baby oil? Yes. Now, this is from the day before the Intercontinental Hotel incident. This is, prosecution says this is a long document. We need time to read it. The judge says, we'll take a break then. Now, this Carrie person, I'm thinking she must be a witness for the defense, because she came up before, but they're bringing her up, and now they're saying that she actually sued Cassie and Diddy, and that Diddy abused her. But I'm thinking she's probably going to corroborate the fact, or the defense's theory, that Cassie was all in on this relationship and on the abuse as well. I'm wondering. I don't know. Anyway, so the judge said they'll take a break. This is probably going to be the last part of this. Let me come over here really quick. I don't see any new comments. All right, y'all are tuned in. Let's go back to court. 4:08 p.m. on the East Coast. The judge says we are in the home stretch of the day. Let's get our jury back. All rise. The jury enters. Miss E says, is this from March 4th? Prosecution says with UCT time, it's March 3rd. Miss E says, okay. Mr. Combs refers to accessories. Ventura, Cassie says, for the premiere. You sent him an explicit message? Yes. He responded with a number of M's. He wrote, too bad you have to work, LOL. He did. You asked him, are you feeling better? Then he's discussing bodily function. Yes. Could we just clarify? This is Cassie. Could we just clarify what time the messages are really from with the UCT? The prosecution says there's stipulation on that. And the reporter posts this document. I'm not going to read it, but it's a stipulation about the UCT time frame versus EDT and PDT, Pacific Time, Eastern. And okay, so Miss E says, Mr. Combs went to your premiere lunch at London Hotel? He did. Then he says, I got out of a spiritual therapy session. And Cassie says, I asked, how did it go? Miss E says, he said it's a process. This is leading up to the hotel incident. You say, baby, I want to FO so bad. You were asked in your direct, and you said you didn't want him to ruin your premiere. Cassie says, sure. Mr. Combs says, if we start at 7 p.m. and go to 4 a.m., you can get enough rest after. She said, yes. Miss E says, he's saying it'd be a shorter than usual freak off. That's how I would understand it, Cassie said. What do you say? Cassie said, Carrie is here. We can't do it at my house. Miss E said, you say that guy is sick. I'm not going to ask you what you meant. So you were turning to Johnny. Was he a dancer or an escort? We hired him as a dancer, but he did want what an escort does. Do you remember the beginning of this freak off in the Intercontinental? Not really. The drugs were bad MDMA, right? I have no idea. The judge says it's 5 o'clock. Jurors, you may go home. Do not look up anything about the case. All rise. The judge then thanks Miss Ventura. No discussions with the government. He tells her, we'll see you tomorrow. Everyone else may be seated. The witness leaves. The judge asks, how much more? Miss E says, let me check. Prosecutor Johnson says, half an hour on redirect. Ignifilo says, we'll figure it out tomorrow. Judge says, have your next witnesses ready tomorrow. Who are they? Prosecution says Don Richard or Richard, I think she says. Okay, we got Don Richard or Richard up from Danity Kane coming in to the court. The judge says if there are more issues, someone needs to email the court. And then the reporter reminds us that these issues are not in the public docket. The judge then adjourns court. So that's it, and that's all with regard to today's trial session. Now, I appreciate y'all for coming over here. I don't show my face, and I'm saying there's a lot of people who are on the ground who are covering this, but I do want to encourage you to pop around. There's a lot of things that this reporter doesn't add into his to his tweets. But this is why I think I'm gonna come Saturdays, okay, to bring in some extras and some more commentary about this stuff, because I have a lot of things I want to say, but I don't, I just kind of want to, as we do this day to day, I want to kind of, as much as possible, stick to what's happening in court. But right now, I do want to play a couple. Well, I think this one TikToker specifically. I remember I was talking to you about the kids, Diddy's boys or whatever. Let's listen to what she has to say.
Everybody was saying Ava Combs, Ava Combs, Ava Combs. Where?
Oh, that's right. She's actually speaking on Ava Combs. A lot of people question, where is Ava Combs? I don't know if you guys remember. It was a viral video where Diddy introduced little Ava. If you can see at the very top of this picture, she's the one to the left with the dog with the pink collar. And she seemed a little awkward and a little uncomfortable in that video. And remember, his kids were there too when he introduced her as one of the Combs family. But listen to what she has to say, because apparently Ava Combs has popped out.
Girl Ava Combs that popped out, the one that Diddy had adopted, the Caucasian little girl that Diddy used to be posting on live and all that. Everybody want to know where she was at. Well, baby, she done popped out and she ain't quiet and she got stuff to say. Basically, homegirl said that she was just in foster care when Sean Combs, the junior, and that's why I think he's gonna have something to do with the case, and I think they're gonna investigate him, and I think maybe he might get in a little trouble too.
Let me just stop this too, first of all, because there is no Sean Combs Jr. She's talking about Christian or King Combs, and he does look just like his dad, but he's not a junior. And then she speculates whether or not they're going to get brought into this. They've already been brought into this. Both Christian or King Combs and Justin have been named in lawsuits. So now one of the lawsuits, now Little Rod, who's also in court, by the way. Little Rod is in court. Our mom has him on camera in line, honey, and with his lawyer, Tyrone Blackburn. Little Rod had to drop the charges or his allegations against Justin Combs and Cuba Gooding Jr. because they couldn't find them to serve them the papers. But now here he is at court. Seemed to me they could have waited and caught him at the courthouse, child. But anyway, listen to what she says, though, about what Ava said about what happened to her.
Like, that's neither here nor there. She said that he had told her, come to my daddy house with me and you'll be straight, you'll be well taken care of. And she was like, okay, cool. She in foster care, she just wanted to be loved and she tired of living from pillow to post and being treated bad. Y'all, she said that Diddy told her to call him Daddy Combs, because if he called anything other than that, she'll have to go into the other room with him, whatever that's supposed to mean. One event she talked about, she said it was two men on her, and she just knew that the other men that she was cool with, that knew this was wrong, would stop the situation. So she looked at one man, made eye contact with him, and was like, looking at him, make this stop.
She's talking really fast, but basically she's saying there were two men on her, and I'm assuming it's sexual. And she's looking at one of them who she's cool with, like, make it stop. And he just puts his head down.
She said that man put his head down, went on his phone. She couldn't believe it because he had just had a little girl and got married. So she just knew that he knew this was wrong and he was going to help her, but he didn't. She made eye contact with, I think she said, Kanye West's cousin, and was like, he'll make it stop. Cool. He know me. He turned around. They had their way with her. I seriously think they finna involve Diddy's son in it. I know a lot of people is gonna get exposed, but I think he's gonna be one of them. What do y'all think? Do y'all think Diddy them kids knew what he had going on? Maybe not the girls, but the boys. Let's talk about this.
Now, the fact that the girls aren't in court for this cross exam and that um, the boys are there, I think they're very familiar with Diddy and his ways. I believe it's safe to say they've seen a lot. I think that the fact that Diddy was, the drugs and the alcohol played a big part of Diddy's life as the kids grew up. I mean, from babies to adults. Kim Porter as well. It's been said she was doing that white horse and she smoked blunts a lot too, but it's more so the cocaine, the Coca-Cola that had things a little out of hand sometimes. And now they're grown adults in their 30s, or I don't know if King yet is 30. He's probably in his late 20s, but I know that Justin and Quincy are in their 30s at this point. And like I said, Justin and King have been named in lawsuits doing nefarious things, just like their daddy. So, including unaliving somebody, okay? And that's in Little Rod's suit. So the fact that they couldn't find Justin in order to serve him, he's hiding. So he's not going to face the allegations. That to me says guilt. Okay, that's just guilt all the way, right? And maybe his father, I don't know if Diddy's even supporting Justin the way that he wasn't, or I don't know if he's supporting the kids, because I noticed the girls, their hair, to me, when I see them, they're beautiful girls. And usually their hair is done, whether in braids or a hairstyle of a sort. But I noticed their hair looked like it ain't been done in a while. They just pulled it back in a bun. King looks a little rough around the edges as well. Now, Sarah in the white, she and her mom, I think, are separate from them. I don't know. Her mom seems to take really good care of her. She's in college, I believe, in New York. And I don't know. She just comes off with a lot of class. Nevertheless, I think we'll end this here today. We'll definitely be back tomorrow for the rest of the cross exam. And not sure if they're going to get to Dawn Richard or Richard of Danity Kane tomorrow or not. They may, at the very least, introduce her and then continue with her on Monday. But I appreciate you hanging with me, and I'll definitely see you on the next one. Peace and love.